but excellent. So we are just going to discuss it then. So since we already have had an idea of resume, actually the people last week that came last week, they had never seen a resume before. So, but so what is a resume? Can anybody help me? Since we've done that before. Yes, Flourish.
It's like a piece of paper that has like all your qualities and your achievements and stuff and qualifications that you give to like jobs, and so like they have an idea of who you are and your skills before hiring you.
Excellent, excellent, perfect. So it looks like somebody joined the wrong room. Did you click on it, or you joined the wrong room? Okay, I'm gonna send it to you again, because that happened to Flourish. Flourish, you know what, I'm gonna stop recording right now so that this does not. All right, excellent. All right, so today we are going to look at a few resume writing tips. All right, so since you guys have seen one before and have written one, can you share with me a few tips that comes to your mind when you think about writing a resume? Anybody can remember? Those of you that said you've written a resume before, what are some of the tips that you can remember based on the resume that you wrote?
You can write the things that you're a part of, like clubs or like things that you do after school, your hobbies.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Who else wants to share? Okay. All right. So let me just refresh your memory. Like Flourish said, resume is it's something that you prepare when you're trying to look for a job. And it's like it's not really a piece of paper, because nowadays it's digital, so you can also send it through email. So I don't want to use the word paper, but it involves your experiences, your skills, your information. Just trying to tell the person who you want to work for about you and about all that you have done. So when writing, and I'm going to show you a sample of resume before we go. When writing a resume, it's important that your resume has to be very, very clear. It has to be clear so that the person reading it will be able to understand. It has to be concise. And it has to be positioned in such a way, it has to be written in such a way and presented in such a way that immediately the recruiter sees it, they're able to tell what your qualifications are. So in other words, it doesn't have to have a lot of words. It has to be concise and have to be clear, so you go straight to the point. So when you want to write a resume, what you have to bear in mind is that you have to look for the keyword in the position. So for instance, somebody is saying that they want to hire, or they're looking for a doctor, or they're looking for a dentist or a statistician. So you have to look for the keywords the keywords in that posting. That will tell you, that will determine how you're going to structure your resume. Though oftentimes people always advise that you have one general resume, okay? And you have to use a professional font, okay? So those of you that have written one before, what font style did you guys use? Can you remember? No. Oftentimes we advise people to use the number 12 and the Arial. Those are the common font styles that are being used, okay? And before you write a resume, we always tell you, go and look out. There are other people that have written a resume before based on that profession. So you go out and look for it. You look at samples of the resume that other people have written. Other people that have done that job, other people that have applied for that job have written. It's always good. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. It's always good to go look up, see what other people have done in that area, what resume, samples of resume that they have written, so that you can just glean from it. Not that you have to copy exactly, but glean from it and know how to adjust it, because their experience is totally different from your experiences. You adjust it the way that fits you. I will talk about the format and your design. make sure you have your contact information. So your name has to be there, your email has to be there, your email address has to be there, your phone number has to be there, and sometimes your address, but not always, not in all cases should your address be there. When you're writing, make sure you shine a spotlight on your skills. The skills that you have, very, very important. Let them see it, let them know it. Focus on your critical experience that relates to that job posting. So the experience that relates to that particular posting that they're looking for, and focus on in your education. What's the level of education, your school that you went to that also buttresses that job posting. Make sure that you outline it, very, very important. Review your work, your resume, and rework it. So I am going to give you about 7 do's of resume writing, and I'll give you the don'ts, and then we'll just wrap that up, okay? Because I told you I'm not going in details today. I'm just giving you a review since some of you have written it already before. So number 1 do's of a resume, make sure that your resume is clear and concise, like I said before. Okay, so if you're writing, you can write it down. Make sure that your resume is clear and concise. Right, so most employers, they don't have the time to read the long things. So write in such a way that maybe they look at it, they can pick up the most information that you want to send across to them. Proofread your resume so many times. Like you've written it, go over it again, make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. Very, very important. So that's number 2 do's. Number 1, make sure it's clear and concise. Number 2, read it over and over again until you make sure that there's no error. Because if there's an error, it's going to put the person off. Number 3, make sure that your resume is not too long. 2 pages is good enough. 2 pages is good enough for your resume. Okay. Now, I know people often try to use general resumes, but it's always good to tailor your resume in such a way that it fits the job position that you are looking for. Highlight what you have accomplished. So make sure that they're able to see what you've accomplished. The accomplishment is a big, big, big deal. Be honest. Don't say what you have not done. Don't say the experience that you don't have, because it always comes back to you. I mean, they might hire you, but if you cannot prove, they will let you go. So you don't know what that to happen to you at all. Okay, use simple words. You don't have to use jaw-broken words. You don't have to use big words, and action verbs, very, very important. If you've been a volunteer, very, very important, put all your volunteer experiences there because it helps a lot. Okay, make sure that your contact information, very important, double check it, triple check it, quadruple check it. How many times? Make sure it's right, because that's how they're going to contact you. So the don'ts of a resume: don't use inappropriate email addresses. I know some people try to use some funky email addresses, but when it comes to a resume, use a real one, probably your first and last name @gmail.com or something like that. It's just perfect. Okay, don't include unnecessary personal information. See, just your name, your phone number, your email address. Perfect. Don't put any other thing that they don't need to know. Any personal information, just keep it to yourself. Except maybe during the interview, they ask you, then you can always let them know. Don't include a picture of yourself. They don't need that. They don't need to see your picture. And don't use too many bullets, just a few. It's good enough. Just list your job responsibilities and your skills. Listing will be a very, very good thing, at least for them to be able to see. You don't have to write paragraphs about it. No. And don't include your references until they ask you for it. So for you, when you're writing the resume, just send out the resume. Later on, they will ask you for references, then you can send your references, except they ask you to send your references immediately, which is not always the case. Okay, so that's just a few do's and don'ts of a resume. And remember, if you've worked before, which I don't think is the case for any one of you here, but then peradventure it happens in future and you're now looking for another job, don't include the reason why you left the other job. They don't need to know, except during the interview, they ask you. So just in a nutshell, in 5-10 minutes, I just shared with you or reviewed with you these do's and don'ts of writing a resume. I didn't want to go into details because you guys already have an idea, just to remind you of, because I believe some of you might be in a position very soon. I mean, I believe the least person here is 14 years old. Some of you are 15, 16, and that's about the age when you start looking for a job. So it's very important that you take note of this. How many of you have looked for a job here before or have tried to look for a job? Flourish, okay? What kind of job was that?
I've done background acting a couple of years ago, and in the summer I also had a summer job.
Well, I don't think you didn't need a resume for that because it was a short-term job, right? Did you?
Yeah, I didn't need a resume.
Yeah, I figured out that kind of job, but that's a real serious job that you might have to do for a long time. Even some summer jobs too might need a real resume, but I know yours was a case of reference. That's why you didn't need a resume, perhaps, right? So if somebody referred you, yeah, that's all. But then if you have to go and look for a job, and especially in a place where they don't know you, you need a resume because the resume is your point of sale. You're selling yourself through the resume. So that's what they look to see if they want to buy you or not, if they want to buy what you're presenting or not. Who else have looked for a job or has worked here before? Nobody. So you guys are all going to be fresh into the market. All right. Have you ever looked for a job before?
No, I haven't. But yeah, I haven't. But
Okay.
I've done like volunteer work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at like nursing homes.
Okay.
And stuff like that, but I've never looked for a real job before.
Excellent. So if you are looking for a real job, which I believe you will soon, every one of you, starting from the age of 15, you're allowed to work. Okay, so that's when you start looking for a real job. If you don't have somebody that can speak for you, where you can say, oh, this is my daughter, or this is my friend's daughter, please hire her. You're going to have to go out there and sell yourself, and you have to sell yourself properly. So these are the things that you have to do to be able to sell yourself properly. And you sell yourself on the paper first before they even talk to you. Or nowadays through the internet, I think they do online. They prefer you online through the internet, right? Okay, so these are the do's and don'ts. Very, very important. All right, and I'm going to show you a sample of a resume before we end. And I'm going to screen share. Let me pick out which one it is. Okay. This is the one. Okay, can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, please tap on the chat that you can see my screen. Okay, let me make it a little bit bigger. Excellent. Okay, just gonna bring this down here. Wow, we'll talk a little bit about it. Okay. All right, so this is a sample. I'm going to try to make it a little bit clear. Okay, actually, that one works too. So this is an accountant. Bear with me here. Let me try to do it a little bit more. Okay. This should go down a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. So this is a sample of an accountant's resume. Okay. Do you know who an accountant is? Do you guys know who an accountant is? An accountant is somebody who deals with finances. They help you with your finances. They help you with your bookkeeping. They help you with your taxes. They help you they file your taxes at the end to make sure that you're in a right standing with the CRA, the government. Actually, we had an accountant last week. Looks like a lot of you, Uloma and Sarah, I think you guys were the only one. We had accounting, money management. We had an accountant last week. The accountant was the one that did the workshop last week. So some of you missed the workshop. So this is some of the things I remember one of the questions that was asked was about taxes, and I believe she responded to it. It was Asma that asked that question about taxes. She's not here today. And she responded. So accountants, they help us with our finances. They help us to manage our money, to make sure that it is being accounted for properly. Our taxes are being done properly so that we will not get into trouble with the government. So this is, if you want to be an accountant, this is how your resume is going to look like. This person, this is how they wrote their resume. See their names? Can you guys see? Can you type in the chat if you can see? Oh, you guys cannot see? Hello? Okay, chat. Okay, perfect. I can see your chat now. Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you, because I wasn't seeing anything. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So you can see the name. This is the name of the person that has this resume. This person wants an accounting position. So this is what a resume looks like, a professional resume. This is what it looks like. Okay. So you see how they put their name. I mean, this is their own design. You could choose to design it in your own way. All right. So this is where the email address is going to be. See? flourishrza@gmail.com. So this is where your email is going to be. This is where your phone number is going to be. And this is where the address, this person chooses to put their address, is going to be as well. Okay. So this is a professional summary. So it basically is just a summary of what you're looking for. So this person is an accountant looking for an accounting position. So he said highly analytical, result-driven accounting specialist skilled at working quickly and accurately under tight deadline. So they are trying to sell themselves right here now. So they're saying that they are highly analytical, they're result driven. You see the words, that the kind of words they're trying to use to sell themselves. So it captures the person, the recruiter initially. Okay, so this is now where they put the work history, all the work that you have done, even if it's volunteer work, especially since it's going to be your first time looking for a job. Of course, those of you that volunteered, this is where you put the volunteer work. I can remember there was a lady that volunteered for our youth camp last year, and this was our first time. I think she was 16 years old, a girl, and she was looking for a summer job. She volunteered during our youth camp. She was one of the youth leaders for the summer camp, and she used the volunteer experience and put it in her resume. Because I remember the person that wanted to hire her called me and was asking me, of course, I guess she used me as a reference. So the person was calling me and asking me, was it true that this person actually worked or volunteered during the camp? And I told her, yes, that was true. And she wanted to know more about the person. So you see how volunteer experience worked, because this was the first real job she was going to get. So you can also put it down in your resume right here. Okay, so this person, these are all the experiences they have. Now see the skills. So these are the kind of your skills. What can you do? This person does invoice coding, data trending, can calculate liabilities and all that stuff. So this is where you enumerate all your skills and what you can do. Education, this is where you put your education, what school you went to. Especially you start with the most recent school that you went to and everything. So let's give another example of another resume. Okay, this actually, you could see it better here. See it better here. This is a full one. Okay. All right. So let's see the other resume. I'm just going to go back. And that's where we are going to wrap up. Okay. So this person, let's see. Okay, let's click on this other person. Leslie James. Leslie James is an auditor, okay? This is what her resume, this is how she structured her resume. You see the different designs. So you choose your own design, the kind of design that you want, okay? So this is Leslie, this is how Leslie formatted hers. Of course, her name, her information. See, she didn't put her whole address, she just put her the state and her postal code. In this code is, in this case, is zip code, because this is a state's resume. The person lives in the state. See where she highlighted her skills, her education, the university she went to, okay? And this is her professional summary. She's an experienced auditor focused on improving business. So who are you? What have you done? What can you offer in a summary? This is where you sell yourself. Very important. And you see how they put it, the first thing that you want the recruiter to see, you are selling yourself. This is where you sell it, the professional summary. And this is where you put your work history, either volunteering or if you've worked in an organization, this is where you put it. Okay. All right, so let's do this. We are going to look at one more resume before we go. Okay. I want to find a different, this way is different. See, I remember when I used to write resume, this is how I used to write my resume a long time ago. We used to use this format. I don't think there's a bigger, can you guys see it very well? Is it too small? Yeah, okay, excellent. So this is another format. Okay, but nowadays I think people design their resume. So I'll suggest the ones we design. You can use your Microsoft. I think there is a template, Microsoft or your Mac. Mac has Pages, I believe. They have the template, so you can also use the template to build your resume. See this person, put their whole information, name, address, phone number, email, summary. That is a professional summary, also called the summary about yourself, what you've done, who you are, what are you looking for, what can you offer? Sell yourself within these few sentences so that you can capture them. Then highlight your work experience and your education. Okay, so does anybody have any question? And I'm going to stop sharing. This will show the different types. Oh, okay, I'm going to show you this last one more. See how this person formatted, yes? Okay, so you choose a format that appeals to you. All right, so you guys can also Google it and take a look more at different resumes. So it's always important, or I always encourage people to always look at samples before you send your resume out. So does anybody have any question? Are you guys clear? So can you guys write a resume for me right now? Because I am looking for an auditor. Can you write one for me right now? That's going to be an assignment for you. So bring it next week, class. All right. I want everybody to flourish. You're talking. I can't hear you. You're muted. Were you talking to me, Flourish? Flourish, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can.
Okay, all right, you seem to be okay. Excellent. So everybody write a resume. I am looking for an auditor. I am looking for a secretary. I am looking for a speaker, a workshop speaker. 3 jobs, you pick. Write a resume for me and bring it next to class. Okay, all right, yes, Christian.
Could you repeat those jobs again?
An auditor, a secretary, a workshop speaker or presenter. Those are my job openings or my job posting. All right, so bring your resumes next week for me. And now bring us to the end of our introduction to resume writing. Okay, so based on your responses, we'll see maybe in our next cohort, we will go into details or not. All right.